Now we keep going and we move on to question 3, which says, for each of these inequalities, write the smallest integer that n could be. Now, before we look into the definition of an integer, let's first start with the definition of an inequality, and that's pretty simple. Inequality is anything that is not equal. So usually when I say x, let's say x is equal to 3, this is called an equality, right? But when I say x is less than 3 or x is more than 3, both of these are called inequalities. And we are now dealing with those. And it might seem difficult to look at first, but then once we develop the logic for it, everything is going to be easy. So let's first read the definition of an integer, because this is the most common mistake when it comes to these questions. Now, an integer is, first and foremost, and I need you to focus on this, this is why I made it in bold and in green, it is a whole number. So, what does that mean? That means that the number 2.3, for example, is not an integer. It is a decimal. The number 4.5 is not an integer. It's also a decimal. The number negative 8.2, same thing. It is a decimal, not an integer. So the numbers we're looking for are simply whole numbers that can either be positive, negative, or 0. So what do I have? Positive whole numbers, negative whole numbers, or the number 0. It is neither positive nor negative, as we agreed in class, right? So let's look at the first inequality. And the first inequality says this: n is larger, and this is the symbol for larger, n is larger than 8. What does that mean? That means that n is anything that is above 8. So if you look at our number line here, n should basically start right here, but it's not going to be exactly 8. It's going to be what's after 8. Now, what are all the possibilities for this integer? Where it's actually infinite possibilities, right? Because when we say n is larger than 8, that means 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 1 billion, 1 trillion, 1 quadrillion, etc., etc., etc. And that's why the question is asking us to say what the smallest integer that n could be. And since n cannot be 8, the smallest integer it could be is actually 9. So the answer to A, simply enough, is 9.